Hello and welcome back to Quick Looks with the Casual Hour. My name is Bobby. Joining me, the gamer on the go, Chase Kinnicky. And we are going to play League of Legends, Chase. I hope you're ready.
Nope. I'm out. I'm done. Can't do it. I won't. I shan't.
I shan't. Well, I have a shanty for you. We're checking out Ruin King, a game set in the League of Legends story lore. I don't know how I decided to get into this, why I decided to get into this, but I'm really happy I got into it. And before you all get into it, like and subscribe to our channel. We do all kinds of fun stuff, like play Quick Looks together, or we bring over some of those previous streams from Twitch. Chase, what is the Ruin King?
God, that's a great question. I'll get to the details here in a second, but neither of us play League of Legends. No. I don't think either of us want to play League of Legends. I certainly don't. MOBAs are just not my thing. I've never really cared about them. Pokemon Unite was relatively fun, but I've basically dropped off it at this point. I have zero interest in any of the stuff that's going on with League of Legends. However, I am a pretty big fan of tactical RPGs.
Oh?
And that appears like what this is. So, Ruin King, League of Legends story, or whatever the fuck it's called. This came out in November. It's developed by Airship Syndicate, who made a couple of interesting games here. They made the Battle Chasers game, Battle Chasers Nightmare, I think is the recent one on that. They also made Darksiders Genesis, which is that isometric, more Diablo-style Darksiders game.
I've played a little bit of that. It's actually pretty good.
I haven't played any of it, but I did download it on a sale on my Switch, so I actually want to try that one out at some point.
It's co-op, too.
But this developer seems like it has a pretty good pedigree of, making cool titles. I don't know why they'd sully themselves with League of Legends. Actually, I do know why. Because Riot has more money than God. This is published by Riot Games, of course, the makers of League of Legends. It's out for PC, Xbox. When you say Xbox, Bobby, do you mean Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S?
I think it's. I know it's on the series consoles. I don't know if it's on the older console or not.
It is on PS4 and PS5. So knowing that it's on PS4, it probably is on Xbox One, and it's also on the Nintendo Switch, which is also a big boon for me. Now, Bobby, maybe it's just a Discord call. Is this thing choppy for you, or is it just choppy for me?
It's just you.
Okay, that's fine.
But sorry about that.
So that's okay. So Ruin King, a League of Legends story. Have you been jungling a lot, or
maybe? I don't know.
Have you done something with your career? I don't know League of Legends terms. I only know Dota terms, and I don't know if they all transfer over.
So let me break down some of the mechanics really quick before we get into it, because I think there's going to be an encounter through this door. Okay. I have 3 characters in my party. So far, there seems to be multiple storylines that are all converging. So,
what are these characters' names? You got Braum here, who's this middle girl. Yep, sure. Yep. Let's just skip it.
And
Yasuo. Okay.
Yasuo. Now I know that these are champions from League of Legends.
How would you know that?
Because I did look some stuff up.
Okay. Okay. You didn't know them because it's
no.
Braum from League of Legends. It's
right.
Oh, I looked up. This guy's okay. Gotcha.
And you can have each character you can cycle through in the overworld. They're all going to have different abilities that are beneficial for the overworld. So
nobody's like the true protagonist. It's not like you have your main person and then just a bunch of party members. Anybody could be the leader of the party here. That's cool.
I was playing as somebody else when the game first started. Then I switched over here to her, and I met with Braum, and then we just got Yasuo in our party. But some things that I think are really cool, and I'm going to do my best to be a bit more poignant going through these menus. Everybody has an equipment loadout. You've got weapon, armor, ring, neck, trinket, and there is a uncommon, rare, epic rating system on the gear and different levels on the gear. It impacts all kinds of crazy stuff over here. What you would expect from an RPG. Each character has a specific weapon type, so blades are going to be what you get for Yasuo. I think I'm saying his name right. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I think so. I think sometimes it has like an H in there, like it's Yashuo,
Okay.
or like a Joshua kind of thing. So
Okay.
like Yashua.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
You can see over here what these items do: bonus damage, crit damage, etc. Pretty standard fare. Abilities is where it gets more interesting, and I think this is going to tie into maybe some things that I'm not too familiar with when it comes to terminology from like a MOBA. But it's, I mean, you don't need to know that. It's just they're using language whenever you're talking about an active time battle, and we're going to show that here. So you've got instant abilities, you've got passive abilities, like this is always going on, and then you have dungeon abilities, and that's what I was mentioning earlier, depending on who's out. So Tornado Dash, this sends out a tornado line, dealing damage and slowing enemies when they enter in combat. You can activate a windmill type crank switch, and this presses air-based hazards such as mist and fog. So if I'm in an area where I see that,
so it's kind of a puzzle solving thing as well as something
Correct.
that is useful for combat. That's cool.
yeah, it's really cool. And then over here, this is wind power. So this is just saying that you can use mechanisms there. If I switch over, I have this tentacle slam. It's going to do damage at the start of combat.
Hey, buddy, we've all had a good tentacle slam these days.
Braum, however, he does stun damage. So you've got those, and then he can send his trusty Poro through holes in environments to scout and scavenge items. So there's things that come into it. The other piece of it, I do have
Bobby,
an ability.
can you go back to Braum real quick?
Yeah.
Is this like your ideal version of yourself right here?
Yeah, man. Braum's pretty cool. He's big,
bald,
he's burly.
beautiful, has a little furry friend.
He has the softest heart out of everybody there, though, and he's the protector of the group.
That's very Bobby.
Yep.
Right there. Needs a little bit more on the chin.
Yeah, a little bit more. You can see that I can upgrade these items, and so if I wanted to this, and I can switch this out. So if I wanted it to be this one, I can just move that down. No big deal.
That's really nice. That's always nice to do re-upping of those skills.
So you can really do some different builds that way. Runes, sure. Every champion has a set of runes that can be activated using the rune shards that are earned through leveling up and by claiming lore. Runes enable special perks that affect a champion's combat capabilities. They're broken up into 2 categories, each built around a unique playstyle. By activating a rune in one of the categories, the associated mastery level will increase. A key rune shard thresholds and mastery bonus perk will become active. We can disable, new runes will continue to unlock. So if I select this one,
so runes are like even like a separate ability tree, because you already have a tree.
Yep. So I went into this one, which was Way of the Blade, and I can unlock these at different levels. So like this is going to give me a 10% chance that any attack will reward an overcharge, and I'll explain overcharge when we get into battle here in just a second, because that's a very important mechanic in the game, and like that's a really great one to have. But I can also disable that and place it somewhere else if we wanted to. This is inventory, and then you can enchant items. This is your bestiary fishing. Fishing's really cool in the game too. So
seems really complex when it comes to all the tinkering you can do. And I'm a guy who loves tinkering, but even this seems like a lot of systems.
It starts to make a little bit more sense once you've been in it for a second. One other thing to highlight, speaking of highlight, you can highlight the environment you're in to know what to interact with.
That's really nice. Mm-hmm.
So coming over to this, this is where you can have conversations with your squad and unlock those story beats. You can swap out party members whenever you get more than what we have available. You can rest, eat a meal, and rest. So if we did that, this is going to give us attack power.
Okay, sure.
So I'm just going to select that really quick, which I don't need to. There we go.
No Meowscular Chef comes out to make a meal for you.
Sometimes there'll be a little sequence of the campfire. So we're going to go into this, and I will do my best to hopefully have an encounter and explain what we're getting into with that.
Yeah, because the combat, I mean, the rest of this game seems fine. Like, it looks okay. I like these character portraits.
Oh, yeah. It's got really good voice acting also.
Wait, is Braum?
Bounty hunter.
I need to hear...
If you've hurt the girl, I will make you suffer.
I need to hear Brom a
Girl
little bit
put some
more.
of my best crew in the ground. If she wants to get taken by the Black Mist, that...
Wait. That stone around your neck. Where...
You know exactly where I got it. Don't you, Truth Bearer? Kill him.
Brom. Damn it. Brom, maybe I was just talking over it and didn't hear it all that well. Brom sounded a little John DiMaggio there.
Oh. I don't know.
Surely not, right?
I don't know.
Yasuo also sounded somewhat familiar.
So there's a wild card that just happened at the beginning of the battle that will add an element to the lanes. And sometimes it can be something that will hurt you if you're in it. Other times it'll be something that can benefit you if you're in it. Enemies with a stealth buff cannot be targeted individually. Knock them out of stealth by using abilities that target multiple enemies. So there's going to be these other clever mechanics that get introduced. This is the first time I've encountered a stealth one. Enemies are often extra dangerous, while stealth, you can perform defensive actions to brace yourself against their attack. Alright, so here we are, Chase. This is our battle. If I went into inspect mode, I can now inspect our timeline, or people on it, and what that's going to do.
Brom is not John DiMaggio.
That's too bad.
As you probably guessed. Yasuo, though, is Liam O'Brien, who has been in games like Grand Theft Auto 5, Fallout 76, and Death Stranding.
Huh.
And then also one you might know. Did you start with a character named Misfortune?
Oh yeah, Misfortune's really cool.
Yeah, she's voiced by Laura Bailey, who you would probably know as Abby Anderson from The Last of Us Part 2.
Cool. Yeah. So you're actually we're on our way to link up with Misfortune. I think she'll come back into our party, which will be really cool.
Misfortune is a terrible name.
Isn't it bad?
It's so awful.
Yeah.
When I made I can't believe I'm going to admit this. When I had WrestleMania 2000 on the Nintendo 64, I made a created character.
Yeah.
And her name was Miss Terry Woman.
Oh, God.
Uh-huh.
All right, Chase.
And even that is better than Misfortune.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Let's talk through the 3 types of attacks each character has.
Sure. Hey,
So
man, whatever you want to do.
We've got our timeline down here with 3 lanes in it. Over here, we can do the inspect mode, quick strike, combat speed we can change, and then we can also flee, but we're not going to flee from this one.
Okay, so I get the timeline. I've played games with timeline stuff, Tokyo Mirage Session, Dragon Ball Fusions. There's plenty of other games that use systems like this where you can kind of push enemies on the timeline. I get that. What's with the length? I mean, I know that MOBAs do lanes, but like you have 3 of these lanes here. What does that mean exactly?
So lane abilities are going to be more of your like big abilities or your character specific, magic attacks, if you want to call it that. You can see an icon up here, and you can see that we're on, as I'm moving the timeline down there by hovering over what they're going to do, we're in that middle balance lane. So I'm going to do this attack because this is going to attack everybody, which is what's going to bring them out of stealth. We've uncovered that much. But right now I'm doing 98 damage to all because I'm balancing it out. If I go up, I'm now in the speed lane. I'm doing 81 damage to everyone, and I'm attacking earlier in the timeline as well. If I come down here and I do a power attack, it's going to cost 20 of my mana to do this. Mm-hmm. But it's also going to put Braum into that attack boost location on the timeline. So I'm going to do more damage there. I've already got a stack for 37 damage from that blessing we got from the food. And I'm going to do this heroic leap, which normally I wouldn't have landed there, but because it's a slower attack, but higher damage, it puts me where I want to be for the next time I do an attack on them. So I'm going to lock that in. I'm going to target these stealth enemies, but I'm probably going to be attacked before Braum attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that they're going to do more damage because they're stealth. So for Yashua here, I'm going to go to my instant, and I'm going to just do the shield wall or wind wall. Now I can do this where I can increase the crit of all my allies. So I could sacrifice some damage on him and potentially give Braum more of a chance to crit this big ass attack he's about to do. But I'm just going to play. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do that. We're going to try and just.
And as an instant, these can be played, whenever, and you don't have to wait for your turn because they're
it just went up there.
Show them your blade.
So now I can do a similar thing where I can block for her, but if I go to the lane, there's some options here, which is going to heal a target. I can deal magic damage if I want to. I can deal tentacle damage, which I don't have any of those out right now, or I can heal all the allies. I think for her, because I'm going to need her to take care of us, I'm going to make sure she's protected. So I'm just going to put up a barrier around her, and then I can heal everybody up if I don't do some crazy damage at the end of this. So now we've exhausted our turns. Braum takes a hit. We are now back to Yashua on the timeline there. So I'm going to attack and do another dual attack for them. But I'm going to try and get it in the speed lane so I can put him into that powering up phase as well. He takes a hit, double hit.
So it said that attack also pushes back enemies on the timeline.
Correct. So it just pushed them back further on the timeline because it has a blowback on it. Here comes Braum's big attack.
I guess I'm
with
still
the
not
critical.
sure what the lanes do exactly. I see that people are using different attacks on these different lanes, but from a timeline perspective, it doesn't seem like it's affecting anything. Like if Yashua's thing was like, "Hey, I'll push everybody back on the timeline that is in this lane," then I understand more what the lanes do. But
the lanes are for lane is going to be based on speed, power, or balance. When I did the thing for Braum, I increased his damage dealt, but because of the damage being dealt higher, it slowed me down on the timeline, but it worked in our favor because it put me into that sector that had the power attack increase on the wild card buff at the start of the game.
I get that. I think it's more of just like a visual thing with the timeline of why do you need to split the timeline up into 3 different lanes if really just the instant balance or power push you on different parts of the timeline. Why do you need to have different tiers of them up and down if you're really just moving them left and right? But maybe that's just a visual thing.
I think it's more visual to give you an indication of like where your attacks might be at. Ooh, a cannon trap. It's triggered by pressure plate next to it. How exciting. The party can sprint through pressure plates like this to avoid taking damage. Other traps may function differently. Take care out there. Sprint, eh? Okay.
It seems like a very sprinty character.
He's just going to keep on moving. Let me see one more thing here. So we're going to get into another fight, and I'll try and show that timeline off one more time.
Sure you want to face Braum?
So we got a crit chance up now rather than an attack chance up. We do have one person who is stealthed. Let's get into fighting here. These things suck over here, like this little cannon spider crab looking thing. And I will use the lane mechanic as we're talking through that again. So again, it's more about just a visual of me being in a lane. So it's changing my place on the overall timeline. So if I speed up this attack, it won't put me where I want to, but if I do it in the power lane, it's going to land me on the time frame where I'm going to get that crit chance, which is what I want.
Yeah.
So we'll select that, and I can select everybody. No big deal. Braum, we're going to do an instant attack. So I want to show this overcharge, because I think that's pretty important to talk through. It's a big part of this game. We'll do a concussive blow on this one. That's an instant attack. So as soon as I do that, I now have this overcharge. So this pool here is going to be exhausted first above my overall mana. So if you exhaust your mana in a game, I can just do these quick attacks and build up the ability to do a lane attack. So overcharge goes into it, and that's exhausted at the end of each battle. So that doesn't carry over, that's only for this fight, but all of your, like every instant attack feeds into it. And sometimes, as you saw for Yashua, we've got a chance to increase our overcharge. And he can hold a lot more, as you can see. He also has the lowest amount of everybody else. So, but for her, whenever we do a tentacle slam, it has the chance of bringing a tentacle out in the game, which I've increased for her ability. So now these are going to do randomized attacks while we're fighting. But they also have perks, so when I exhaust them, you'll see them potentially do more damage for us also. That guy's really fucked us up.
Just like Brom thought.
Brom got hit hard. Crit. So, I could come to the lane for Brom, which I'm going to do. I'll just do another attack here. I'm not going to be able to do anything besides make this happen faster. But if I did 112, I could take them down quite a bit. I'll stick with the balance, though, just from a timing standpoint.
Just a little time.
So our tentacles just randomly attacked at the start of her turn. If I come over here, this one deals 120 damage and causes all the tentacles to strike the target for double damage. So as I'm fighting, I can be building up more tentacles around her, and then do something like this and get real nasty. We'll focus on the swashbuckler here. Double the damage for each one of those outputs. So now I've got 3 of them out. That'll continue to be the case for all this. He just did some sort of buff. We'll do an instant attack, try and get her knocked out. And Brom comes up, and that will take out at least one of them. Maybe both. There we go. Perfect.
I have no patience. None shoot.
Sweet. We'll spread that out over everybody and continue the journey ahead. And I think that's a good stopping point.
Sure. I hear this is, as dense as it looks like the building, the inventory stuff, the equipment stuff, and the combat looks. This game does seem to have a lot of pretty approachable mechanics in there as well. I know that even though you only got 3 characters in your party right now, when you get more characters and can kind of freely switch them, they all gain XP at the same rate. So even though you're not using a character, they're still gain XP. Like when you get Misfortune back in your party, I'm sure that she'll still be around that level 7 or 8 where your other team members are.
Right.
And that's cool. That's a nice thing. I like the way that you can in the build crafting, you're able to just mix and match your abilities and turn them off and switch them to the other ones if you want to. That's real nice.
Yeah, I think it does some really cool things to make people feel like they can learn these complex systems. And even if I have not been very familiar with a game like this, like the systems that they got in place, like there is a lot of tutorialization that happens early on in the game to make it understood.
How difficult has this been so far for you? Do you feel like you are getting the mechanics, or do you feel like enemies are just doing more of that, where they're just taking your characters out?
Well, I've ran into some scenarios that have been pretty rough, and I worked ahead and I got into some battles I wasn't ready for. I haven't had to grind too much to level things up, but does
this game have difficulty levels, or is it just, hey, the level's the level?
There is a difficulty level, I believe, if I remember correctly. We're going to bring him back to life, by the way. There we go. So there is a revival potion. No, I think it's pretty leveled out. Like it's where I would expect a game like this to be right now. For where I'm at in the game, I think it's fair for the damage that I'm taking. And like I could have healed him up in between those encounters, and I just didn't do anything before we got back in this battle. So like that's really just an error on my part for not being smarter about planning and what we would get into being in this dungeon. So I think it's a cool game. I'm digging it a whole lot. It's been a very big surprise for me. And before Chorus came up, oh shit, I forgot to mention, this is a wave battle. These crystals up here. So however many crystals you see, so we've gotten rid of this one.
I see. Okay.
You'll be in a wave. Anyway.
Bobby, important final question for you.
Yeah.
You gonna play League of Legends now?
Well, the one on iOS just got Game of the Year, and people seem to like it quite a bit. But no, I'm not going to play it. I don't think it's...
I mean, I have to imagine that's Riot's plan here. It's like it's twofold, right? It's to get people who play League of Legends to play this game instead, or play this game in addition to playing League of Legends. They always want to play League of Legends, but this is a way to potentially get more money out of people. Of hey, here's another League of Legends branded thing that you can buy. But then I'm sure it goes the other way too. That you get people like us who don't give a shit about League of Legends, and we're interested in these kinds of games, and maybe we think Misfortune's a real cool name of a character and decide that we need to play some League.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I'm sure somebody out there is going to feel that way. And this is not the only game they're doing this with, right? There's a whole stack of League of Legends branded games in development. I just think this is the first one of these that's come out, right?
Yeah, there's like 4 of these that are out right now, or that will be out here soon. All different. Like one's like a rhythm platformer. Another one is looking to be more of a kind of like a heartfelt like kid adventure. Like some really interesting things.
They're going for like a real Star Wars vibe of like, hey, we have a world and characters and universe that is built out, and now we're letting people play with it and do interesting things in the sandbox, and that's kind of cool. I mean, knowing that you feel like, yeah, I'm not as interested by the League of Legends stuff, but anybody who's making a game and wants to try something interesting can also feel a little comfortable that, hey, it's got League of Legends on it, so people will buy it, so they're allowed to stretch out and do maybe some interesting things that they probably wouldn't feel comfortable doing if they knew their livelihoods were on the line. So
absolutely. Cool. Yeah, man. I'm really enjoying this game a whole lot. I've thought about it a lot when I'm not playing it, and I continue to want to come back and play it. Ruined King sat on a lot of different things. I think it's worth checking out for sure. I think that, Chase, if you spent an hour with this, you would be very comfortable and probably enjoying it quite a bit. I do think that it's worth checking out, and it's made a believer somewhat out of me of these characters, because I think they're interesting. Like I enjoy the characters. I don't know if I enjoy League of Legends as a game, but I like Braum. I think Braum's a really cool character, and it's been neat to see that story stuff unfolding. So come back and check us out Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays over on twitch.tv/casualhour, where we play games like Ruined King. We record a podcast Wednesday nights. We post that every Friday at 9 a.m. Central. This has been a lot of fun, Chase. Thanks for hanging out and battling around with me, and we'll talk soon. Take care.